All right, so you guys already know who I am for the most part. So, territory manager of New England. My experience is 3+ years in the HVAC industry, background in sales, marketing, and as a chimney tech. It does say please hold the questions for the end, but we are going to kind of open this up as an open forum discussion. We are going to go through each product in an in-depth way, and then at the end of each product description, we are going to open that up for questions. Feel free to visit us on Facebook and YouTube. So I did want to just reiterate the different common IAQ technologies: UVGI, PCO, and ionization. We do know UVGI, and this is an important thing about UVGI, and the reason we keep on bringing it up. That is what Ashrise recommends to kill viruses and bacteria. UVGI only comes from UVC lamps, so that is ultraviolet germicidal irradiation. That's the disinfection method that uses short wavelength light to kill or inactivate microorganisms. PCO is photocatalytic oxidation, very powerful process that combines UVC irradiation with a substance, titanium dioxide. That catalyst effect results in a reaction that breaks apart the cellular structure of pollutants. And then we have ionization, which electrically charges air molecules by generating negative ions using electricity and discharging them. These negative ions attach to positively charged particles and triggers a bond to create denser particles. You will see ionization take place in our Orion product and in our Solaris product. So we'll go ahead and jump to the next. So Ashrise Position, I sent you guys the link on that. If you guys want, I can send a bunch of links to one of you guys, and then one of you guys can kind of push that to everybody if you would like. I think I already did that, but I can definitely do that again, and that'll have Ashrise Position on UVGI technology that you guys can share with everybody, and I can send different links to each of the products as well. I know Ultravation's a little backed up as far as actual literature goes right now, but we do have the PDFs that we can send you guys, and you can send your customers, or you can download and print out and give to your customers right now. Send to Andy, okay. All right, go ahead and jump to the next. Understanding UVC energy, we know how powerful UVC is just looking at the UV spectrum there. I did want to point you guys to the purple circle right there. We went over most of this already in the past, but just to give you an idea of how powerful UVC is, the closer it is to the surface that it is disinfecting. So if you look at the center point there, that shows you the lamp surface and the efficiency that's taken place, the closer it is to the surface. The further away you get, the less microwatts that you get that take place. So obviously the more lamps you use on a surface, the more disinfection you're going to be able to achieve on that surface. We'll go ahead and jump to the next. This is something else I wanted to hammer home again, understanding the T3 class UVC lamp that is going to give us 40% more energy. The T3 lamp does have the 2-year lamp life on that. I did recommend T3 for all of the products that you guys brought in. So you will find that on most of the products. I do know the Solaris, the actual Solaris lamp does use a different bulb in the actual Solaris product, but that is a 2-year lamp life as well. And if you do notice that a typical UV lamp, if you're looking at the bottom chart right there, the typical UV lamp operates about a 60% efficiency, and then you jump up to the green dot there that operates at 100% efficiency. So that is encased in a quartz sleeve, and it is insulated with gas that protects the UV lamp from cold air. So that technology does allow for higher levels of UV disinfection, lower overall electrical costs thanks to the installation process, and lamps are protected from moisture and debris, allowing for longer service life of the bulb. go ahead and actually, we'll go back to that real quick. Let's see. Does anybody have any questions on that?
All right.
All right, jump to the next.
You did a good job on the first round training there, Ron.
So this is the 2 points of contact. This is what we're looking at. We're looking at a chart in an optimal situation here. This is what we're going to be able to achieve with coil and Airstream disinfection. So the blue represents surface treatment, the green represents air treatment. You'll notice in an optimal situation that a lot of the times you'll be able, for certain bacteria, the bacteria is also represented in the blue as well. So in certain situations, you'll be able to treat almost 100% efficiency for the bacteria, especially there at the bottom. And then other situations, you'll be able to treat most of certain types of bacteria and viruses with surface level treatment, but you'll also need Airstream disinfection as well. And that's where the green comes into play. So a lot of the times you do need a combination of both. And that's typically what we recommend, that you use a combination of both of those. Go ahead and jump to the next. So this is when we're going to kind of open up the forum here, because this is one of the products that you guys did bring in. So I'm going to go over this first, and then we're going to open up Q&A for you guys to get a better understanding of this and why you would recommend this versus some of the other stuff that you guys brought in. So first, let me go over it real quick. This is the Ultravation UVC Advantage. This is germicidal UV to disinfect wet coils, increases HVAC efficiency, inhibits allergens. It does have the PCO technology to remove odors. It does come in a 12-inch or 17-inch lamp. It is a throwaway unit, basically means that instead of replacing the bulb every 2 years, you guys brought in the 2-year model. So instead of replacing the bulb every 2 years, you replace the entire thing, you pull it out, and you put a new one in. So that means it's always in warranty, because the bulb / the whole thing is always under a 2-year warranty. So the notable options, 1 or 2 year lamp life, you brought in the 2-year. So you guys do have the T3 bulb that you brought in. You can do a standalone UV, or you can do UV with a PCO module. So the way you guys brought it in is, and this is per our recommendation, you brought it in as just a UV lamp, and then you have the option to add the PCO. So 2 different SKUs, 2 different packages. I would suggest when you put this on your shelf, you put these next to each other. So basically, you can either buy just the lamp for surface treatment, and then you do have that option to add the PCO for to get rid of some of the photocatalytic oxidation, is what PCO stands for. So, and PCO does start to eliminate some of the household odors and smells, as well as kills certain bacteria and viruses as well. And
if I can add, Ron,
yep,
this is what you said. They brought them as 2 separate SKUs.
Correct.
So yeah, that's exactly what my distributor in New York and Pennsylvania did 3 years ago. This was the first product of its kind. None of the competition has a throwaway design like the Advantage. That's why they branded it as the Advantage. But they also knew that IAQ back then was still a struggle, whereas now we're ripping the lid off. So they kept everything as a separate SKU. The biggest issue from a sales standpoint is reminding people that that accessory is available and it is there, and it should be hopefully purchased with the lamp. If you just install the lamp, you're just taking care of the coil. It's like, what's it going to hurt to throw an extra carbon module on to help deodorize the home? So a lot of people seem to forget that. But again, the advantage of selling the Advantage by itself is that's literally practically the cost of a traditional higher end bulb in our higher end solutions. So you're really coming in that good, better, best scenario. That's your good, and you're going to win all day with pricing on that too.
Yeah. So, and Joe's question there, Joe, for you, I guess I should ask, is there any contractors on the call here before I get into pricing?
Well, remember, we don't talk pricing because these are recorded and these are
These are
public.
recorded.
And you
Yeah.
can send that separately.
Um,
When we stop recording, we'll just discuss any pricing at the end.
so Joe, I would say as a rule of thumb, I would say it's probably about half the cost of the product itself. So half the cost of the UVC lamp, I would say your PCO is going to be. And even with that, this is a very cost-effective product as well. I typically like to call it my entry-level product into indoor air quality for a homeowner. And something like this, you can add PCO to one of, say you, another advantage to having two separate SKUs for this. Say you buy one of the UVC lamps, you add the PCO to it, you mount this over the coils for coil treatment and PCO, but you want to add a couple other UVC lamps to your system, you can do that and not have to have PCO on each of them. So you can add the extra coil treatment and not have the extra PCO in there if you don't want.
Good point. Sometimes the coils are bigger. If they're going to stick with the advantage, you could just throw two of these modules over a larger Z coil, for example.
Exactly. These do have the magnetic mounts, which makes those very easy to install as well. You do have the 12 or 17-inch lamps, depending on your coil size as well. I think a lot of people are going with the 17-inch, especially if you have room. I think that all depends on your market, though. So I believe you guys did bring in both of those, though. So it depends. Any other questions on these guys?
Almost everybody's muted themselves, so if they did, they'll have to unmute.
Okay. So you guys can unmute yourself to speak, or if you want to type in a question, feel free to do that as well. That's what Joe's been doing.
All right.
All right. We can jump to the next. Oh, quite a bunch. All right, so this is our Ultravation Ultramax EZUV Signature Series. So Signature Series does come with a lifetime warranty. You'll find that on a lot of our Signature Series products. This some of the hot points on this: it's germicidal T3 lamp to disinfect wet coils. So this is another example of our T3 lamp. It does install in new HVAC systems to keep them running like new, installs to reduce biological contamination and make the air healthier, connects directly to home wiring, models available for 24, 110, or 240 VAC operations. Notable options: standalone easy UV, add 12-inch easy light for coils, or add a 17-inch easy light for coils. I'm gonna let Scott talk a little bit about this since he actually has one of these in his house. This is homeowner's testimony, so I think he'd probably be best equipped to talk about this.
Yeah, so I'm all about lifetime warranted. We've talked about it on other trainings before. This house is my wife's great grandmother's house. We're eventually going to flip it into a rental. So I just said, listen, I know I'm going to end up being the property manager. I want to do it right. So yes, the EZUV has been around forever. That was our top of the line lamp application because of this lifetime warranty. The voltage component there just means that that power module, that box, that monitoring control center there is auto power sensing. It figures out what it needs. So my contractor simply had to access the furnace, tap power off, and get this, cut in and installed. We ended up not doing the magnet mount. We actually hard mounted it. I have a small Z coil. And then because of that, I wanted to go maximum coil coverage. So with the space I had available, because this is a small system, we added the 6P accessory light on. That's what the easy light at the bottom there means. Our model number says 6P. So the cool thing is when you order that accessory lamp that I'm circling here on the screen, looks almost the same. It comes with a little Y jack. So it plugs right off of the main EZUV system. So we only had to wire one product because the additional bulb just plugs off of this, the main system. So I have two bulbs down there over the coil, keeping it clean. And I've been running it that way for 2 years. And then this year I finally added in an induct system, which Ron will be talking about here in a little bit. So very, very simple. My contractor had never installed UV or IAQ ever. And I was just talking to him the other day, actually, and he said, hey man, I got to start doing this more because that was so easy. So it's definitely a win. And yeah, he came back to clean the coils about 3 weeks ago. And he was like, yeah, there's not much to do here. He just rinsed them down, dried them off, and there was no growth, no contamination, nothing. So.
Yeah, so super easy product to install from what Scott was saying there. It is a great product for treating coils. It is like so something to compare to the advantage that we just spoke about. Why install this other than the advantage? The advantage is a single product. This you can add two coil lamps to this. So this is really good for treating multiple to have multiple UVC lamps to treat your coils there, especially in a situation like Scott has at his house.
Plus, I mean, from an install standpoint, I just have to go down there. I mean, again, this should be done by your contractor, but I do it myself. So I just go down there, I just turn the power off, and I just pop the rubber power boots off. And there's two screws holding the bulbs in. I just take the screws, pull the entire lamps out, get rid of them, put the new ones in, pop the power boots back on, flip the power back on, and I'm done. The advantage, because it's a throwaway product, you take the same two screws out, but it's an entire module. So you take the whole module and the bulb out because it's glued to each other. It's not a interchangeable lamp system like this is. So that's why that product is always in warranty, because literally the wiring, everything gets removed. Whereas this power module stays mounted on my system, and it's got a lamp monitoring light on it too. So I would get a nice alert if for some reason the lamp would fail. So that's the advantage of going to the higher lifetime warranty model like this. So.
Any questions on this?
All right.
Jump to the next.
Now we go to the induct.
All right, so we just covered surface treatment on the coils. Now let's get into the Airstream recommendation. So first we're going to start with the UV catalyst. And you're going to see a difference between the UV catalyst, and then we're going to talk about the Solaris after this. And this is when you're going to start asking questions, why recommend the Solaris versus the catalyst. So that's what customers are generally going to start asking questions about. So definitely pay attention to the big differences between that and why somebody would want one versus the other. So some of the hot points include whole house odor reduction when it comes to the catalyst, and that is because of the PCO. If you notice on the catalyst, you'll see 3 carbon modules. You can't really see it from here, but just like the Advantage has 1 carbon module, PCO carbon module going over the top of the UVC lamp, this one has 3. It is a whole house air purification. It does have activated carbon PCO, which means it does not have any ozone. It does have a self-recharging carbon for 10 years. It does have that lamp monitoring system. Notable options, you can get just a standalone UVC catalyst, or you do have the option to add a 12-inch or a 17-inch easy light for coils, which basically means you can put this in your Airstream, and then you can actually have a basically plug and play UVC light that you plug into this that you can mount over your coils. So we talked about the importance of Airstream disinfection and coil treatment. So this allows you to do both with this product. And this product does not emit any ozone either. This product does UVGI technology, and this product does PCO technology.
And this is also in my house.
This is also in Scott's house. So
yeah, this is what I just added this year. So
testimony here.
Yeah. Because I'm flipping it to a rental, I just said, okay, I'll go all carbon, even though I've never been sensitive to that ozone-y smell, and the chance of the population's small. But I said, you know what? I've already got the 2 lamps on the coil. Let's just throw this in the duct. If I didn't have those 2 lamps in the coil, I would have just put this catalyst in the plenum and done exactly the same thing I did before 2 years ago. I would have bought it's the same exact accessory lamp, 12 or 17-inch easy light. It's the same SKU. So I would have just daisy chained that, plugged it right off of the power head of the catalyst, because that's the advantage of this system, is it's just you just run the wire right up into the back of the power head, and there's already a jack there. So I just plugged the coil lamp on and go mount it over the coil, and we would have been done. So once again, just like with the last install, I'm only physically having to wire one thing, the main power head on the catalyst. So
yeah, so these do both come with T3 bulbs as well. So you can add the T3 bulb to this, and Catalyst actually comes with the T3 bulb. And to Scott's point, when he's talking about the sensitivity to ozone, that is one of the big differences between this versus the Solaris that we'll get into next. The Solaris does emit a little bit of ozone, which that is a big preference point there. Some people actually enjoy the smell of ozone. Other people, it's a small population, but there are some people out there that are sensitive to ozone. To Scott's point, again, he did not want to take that chance when he eventually turns his house into a rental property. The next people that move in there may be that small portion of the population that are sensitive to ozone, and he just doesn't want to go down there, have to rip out the, if he put in a Solaris, he doesn't want to have to rip out the Solaris and put in a Catalyst and waste the time doing that. So he just went with the Catalyst just to be on the safe side. And you'll start to notice there is a preference with that, and that's going to be judged by your customer base. Given by the popularity of the Solaris, the popularity of, say, a Remmy Halo that's out there that is very popular, there's a lot of people that either do not mind the ozone smell, or that actually like it, or that are not affected by it one way or another. I did see there was a question there.
Yeah, we might have to follow up on that one after this training call. That's he was just wondering if there's a graph on pressure drops. I don't know that off the top of my head. I know we have pressure drop graphs relating to our filtration. I can note that all of our carbon, it's not solid. They're all like honeycomb. So there's air passing through everything. So it's not actually providing that much of a restriction at all on the airflow. So everything has a pass-through design to it. I'm trying to find an image that we can show in a bit, because the Advantage's PCO module is the exact same carbon bricks that we use in the Catalyst. It's just the Advantage, single strip, Catalyst, 3-hole strips. So, but yeah, we could tag that one for a follow-up.
We definitely don't call it a filter, but
No.
you do see stuff kind of filtered through it in a way, I guess.
Yeah, and actually real quick, I'll swap the screen share for you. This is a mock-up. Well, this is the actual design. Here is the Catalyst deployed. And this is, you're obviously looking at it from underneath. So there's the gasketing in the back there that would actually be on the outside of ductwork. There's your UVC lamp. There's the 3 strips. When you go to install this, this is actually collapsed down. And then once you've installed it, you actually hit 2 release levers, and then you deploy it outward. So it increases as much surface area as the air is passing by, and creates as much reaction off the UVC lamp. So that's what the Catalyst
makes it, yeah, it makes it very easy to install as well. You don't have to cut open a huge area to install it, because that does expand once you put it in there. Then you can expand it.
Yeah. Cool. But we'll tag that one for a follow-up, Ron.
Yeah, I can get back to you guys on that.
I have a question. When you have to service it to or remove it once it's expanded, how does that happen?
So there is a little.
You don't have to service it. So I should clarify that. The only thing you're taking off is the power head, and then you have 2 screws that have the bulb mounted in it. So you just take the 2 screws and pull the whole bulb out. This whole apparatus stays installed in the ductwork. If for some reason you ever needed to take it out, those same 2 metal levers, you just press them in and then swing them back down into the locked install position. And then you can take all the screws off the ductwork and pull the whole apparatus out if you had to. So I'm trying to find a zoomed in shot of that. So.
Yeah, the actual encasing slides up off of it, and then you would pop out the bulb to replace the bulb every couple years. And then, like Scott said, there's a little lever on there that would fold down the PCO modules that allows that to come right out of the hole that you cut into the ductwork.
Yeah, this is the kind of like after/before. So this on the right, that's what comes out of the box like. So, and I don't have an image of it right now, but if I was looking at it with the power head off, that's where you have 2 little metal levers in a locked and unlocked position that does that. So very simple.
Thank you.
Does it have to be oriented like that, or can it be oriented down? As long as the bulb is...
Oh, yeah, it doesn't matter.
Okay.
Yeah, great question, actually. Yeah, so depending on where the plenum is or your space, I mean, you don't even, you want to go left, right, top, bottom, it's up to you. You're using, if you have metal duct, you're using, sheet metal screws to anchor it. So it's, For me, I was able to access it, directly from the front of, I'm standing in front of the furnace. My plenum is right there. I had nothing else in the way. So we just cut straight in from the front. And so whenever I come down to change the filter, change the lamps on my coil application, it's right there as well. I just pop the power right off and pull the lamps and change them. So, but you can drop in from a top and go and have it hanging vertically. In the end, it's just all about being deployed, and supply air is passing by the field that's being created by this device. So. Good questions.
Yeah. All right. Any more questions on this?
Good for now.
What size ductwork will that work up through? I mean, if you have a 36 by 20 plenum, would you need more than one of those in that plenum?
The product, the Induct Supply product like this is designed, up to 5,000 square feet residentially. So it's, because you're pulling air back through the system, through the return, pushing it back out through the equipment, through the supply. So the air is constantly being recirculated through the system to be retreated over and over again. So these products like this are definitely handling, up to 5,000 square feet, which is going to cover most residential applications. If you got somebody who's a crazy nut and they really want to go for overly maximum air purification, sure, you want to install another one, great. I've had some people do that. I have some McMansions near me here, and they just wanted to have two. They wanted to have two big supply ducts coming out to each wing of the house. So they went and threw one in each one, just to get maximum air purification and deodorization and all that. So, but you don't have to.
So if you have two air handlers, you would only put it in one? Or would you put them in both?
Oh, if you have two different air handles with two different supply ducts, you have to do two different supply applications. Okay. Yeah,
correct.
Yeah, that's a great point. So
yeah,
I mean, unless are both air handlers pushing the air back into the same supply? I've never seen that. So
no.
Yeah, yeah, you have two. That's a great question, actually, Ron. That goes the same thing with coil application, right? You have two different, we'll call it headquarters, right? Two different headquarters of IAQ potential. So you have to address both systems, both coils, both supplies.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah, absolutely. No, that's a good clarification. That was a good question.
I haven't had that one in a while. I like that.
Yeah. That's something I don't think to touch on, but no, that's absolutely a great question.
It's a very good question, because my good friend of mine, I hooked him up with all this stuff. He 2 years ago. And he originally had one main system. And when he bought the house, literally 3 weeks after he moved in, the system took a crap. So whoever did the home inspection was not very good at their job. So they ended up putting in two separate, they zoned the house, ran some new ductwork, now are running two big Hyperion systems, I think they were. So because now he has two systems, we had to double everything we were doing. And I had to order special equipment because for the coil applications, Hyperion systems are not metal, so none of our normal stuff could work. We actually make a special kit just for those Hyperions, which is a pain in the butt. So I told him, don't ever buy those again. But hey, if you like Train, buy Train. So
there's no issue with the aluminum coils with this stuff?
UV is all about, just go ahead and ask again.
There's no issue with all the new aluminum coils?
No.
It used to be copper with aluminum fins. Now they're all aluminum. No issue.
No.
Now, the only time, that's a great question on UVC wavelength. It is a very destructive wavelength of light. But as Ron and I have been heavily trained on, right, Ron, it's okay. If you had, for some reason, an extra bundle of wiring sitting right in front of the lamp, you might want to wrap that with some foil tape just to protect the insulation over time. But I mean, you got to be right near the lamp, and why is that stuff even there to begin with? But no, metal surfaces, any metal, no. The whole point of that is you're inhibiting growth on those surfaces. That's the goal, and that's what the UV will do for it.
Yep. So next we have our Solaris Air Purifier. This is our next Airstream recommendation. Your two biggest recommendations for Airstream disinfection are going to be the Solaris and the catalyst that we just spoke about. Our Solaris product is going to be our product with the most technology packed into it. This is also going to be our direct competitor with the Remmy Halo. The reason being that this is our direct competitor, this is our most beefed up product. This has 3 different technologies into it. This has PCO, this has UVGI technology, and this has ionization all in one. So it has active photocatalytic plus silver ion oxidation, 4 times plasma generation. It kills household odors, kills bacteria and viruses, gives you that thunderstorm fresh air / smell / feeling. And that's basically from the ionization that's taken place. It does have a lifetime warranty. And just like the catalyst that we spoke about, you can either get a standalone version of this just to put in your Airstream, or you can add the 12-inch or 17-inch easy light for the coils that can be mounted over the coils there. So the biggest difference that we already spoke about is the ozone. Some people are going to have a sensitivity to that, and that is a question that you're going to have to ask. Now, a lot of people don't have that sensitivity, so you're not going to have to worry about that, and this is the product to recommend because it does have the most technology. This is going to be our most beefed up product, and this is going to be your whole house Airstream disinfection. So I would definitely push people towards this product or the catalyst depending on their sensitivity to ozone, but this will have all 3 technology in it: PCO, ionization, and UV treatment, with that extra add-on that you can get for coil treatment as well. Did anybody have any questions on the Solaris?
It's probably important to help address the adjustability of this because it is very scalable.
Yeah, that is a good point. So to Scott's point here, that you can adjust the PCO on this. And when you do adjust the PCO, which basically means you can turn down the PCO reacting with the UVC light on this product, which means that smell is going to go down a little bit, so the PCO isn't going to be as strong. And we do have a 4-inch adjustment, so you're going to be able to turn that down quite a bit. And during that process of turning it down, it's not going to inhibit the reaction of the UVC lamp at all. So you don't have to worry about the UVC lamp not doing its job when you do turn down that PCO.
Yeah, so right here is off of Ultravation's site. This is the Solaris's predecessor from years ago, which is still a top seller, was called the Photomax. So this engineering feat from years ago passed over into the Solaris. So that bar coming out here is marked with CFMs or square footage. Both are on there. And there's a little metal rod. And you just pull the rod outward or push it back in based on your scalability and adjustment you need to do. And a lot of times people can set it right to that, the capacity they're doing the house, and they nail it the first time. Other times, some people may say, hey, I actually want a little bit more, or some people want to scale back a little bit less. So the fine tuning happens right here when you take the power head off. So, and this is another view when you're looking straight at it. So, and this is actually how all of our higher end stuff looks when you take the power head off. That's the bulb's right in the center, 2 screws, that's it. But that's the standard footprint, whether it's the Catalyst, the Solaris, this old Photomax, etc. But that's your adjustability that we're discussing.
But this is a very neat product, and like I said, there's a lot of marketing out there with the Remmy Halo, so people are familiar with that. I do have some comparison sheets for the Remmy Halo versus the Solaris, and you'll see when you look at those comparison sheets, ours is a much better product. It has a lot more technology built into it, a lot more adaptability as well, just with the ability to add on one of those 12 or 17-inch easy lights for the coils is a huge option. The lifetime warranty is a huge option. The ability to limit the PCO on this without inhibiting the UVC lamp is another big selling point of this as well. So I think the main question you have to ask your contractors, which in turn have to ask their homeowners about the PCO and if that's going to affect them or not. They're going to have to ask if that's going to be an issue. If it is an issue and they decide not to go with the Solaris, so the Solaris would probably be the first option. Go with the Solaris. If the ozone's an issue, recommend the Catalyst. And if they still want that ionization, then you would recommend something like the Orion. And the Orion's going to give you ionization, which you would mount right before the air filter. So we're going to probably get into that next, I believe. Let's go ahead and jump to the next slide there.
Do you need the comparison, Ron, or?
No, we'll go ahead and jump past that since I already explained it.
Yeah, so we do have the other add-ons, then we get filtration after that, so.
Okay. Let's jump to this real quick since you guys did bring this in. This is a portable air purifier, which is a cool little product that's gained a little bit of popularity lately because you can put this in your personal gym or locker rooms, offices, at a counter inside, maybe even a store or a workshop or something like that, pet areas, dorm rooms, etc. So this does give you kind of a tabletop air purifier for small rooms up to 500 square feet. That's, I mean, I shouldn't even say small room at 500 square feet. So it does control odors and it deactivates airborne bacteria, viruses, and allergens. It is very small too. If you look at the bottom picture there, it is compared to a set of keys. And you can see how small it is compared to a set of keys there. So you could realistically put maybe a couple of these inside an apartment or even a house or something like that if it's if you do want a little bit more air purification.
Yeah, I had a contractor use this just to prove to a homeowner that the technology works. So they put it in the owner's office, which was actually about just over 400 square feet. And they left it in there just for a few days. They said, well, we'll leave it for a week. And the guy had already called back saying, wow, I noticed it, within a day. So that helped prove that this stuff works. And, but again, 9 inches by 9 inches by 3 inches tall. So it's very small footprint.
Super small. You can hide it away somewhere. You can put this in your laundry room. You can put this at your desk at work. You can put this all kinds of different places that you're getting some of those unwanted smells or something like that, that you just want some fresher air in the area. And I'm pretty sure these are pretty cost effective as well. And I do believe you guys brought in a few of these.
Now, is that like a 120 volt plug-in?
Yeah, this is a plug and play option. You would plug this right into a normal outlet.
Thank you.
What's the model on that one?
Scott, you know that offhand. We talked about it this morning. Is it UMP 6000?
It's UVP. So
UVP.
Umbrella Victor Paul 6000.
6000.
Yeah, and I should note in here, this is a little bit different because it's also actually doing filtration. There's a washable air filter in there. So you have the filter plus the UV lamp plus a strip of carbon bricks there right at the exit point on the front of the unit. So the turbine fan is mounted underneath the unit. That's why there's little rubber feet to give you a little bit of a passage of airflow, but that pulls the air up into the box, passes through the filter, passes past the UV lamp, and then out the front there, which is going right through the carbon bricks, which have the titanium dioxide on them, which is creating your PCO as well. So
yeah.
Now, is that like a throwaway product? Is it serviceable, or what's the longevity of it?
You just open it up once a year, or well, I mean, unless your air's really dirty, you have to change that washable filter. But you can take the little filter out, just wash it off, and then you just change the bulbs once a year. So it's an annual PM, so to speak. But no, that's not a throwaway unit. That's something you leave there, just come back, wash the filter, change the bulb.
And this is something I would really stress to. So something like this might seem like for a homeowner that they could do that themselves. Definitely stress that do not mess with UV lights. We understand how dangerous this is. If somebody looks at a UV light, if they take this apart and look at a UV light, it will burn the retinas out of their eyes and can cause temporary blindness and all sorts of other trouble. So this does need to be done by an experienced contractor. So I would definitely recommend people not trying to do this themselves, and that is for the contractor to educate the homeowner not to do so. When they're getting their normal stuff serviced every year, then just have them service this as well.
Cool.
And you can always just unplug this as well, would probably be the safest thing to do.
Yeah.
Next is the M series for UV ductless. This is an extremely cool product. This does do the UVGI. We went over the UVGI technology, and that's what Ashrise recommends to kill bacteria and viruses. And this is what we have to do that for mini splits. I know there's other products out on the market for mini splits that do other types of technologies, but they do not do UVGI. We're focused on doing UVGI technology in the mini split here. So this is our M series. It comes with two 7-inch UVC lamps that do UVGI technology. It comes with a little power module there that you see that does have a lamp out alarm that is both visual and audio. It does have a 1-year lamp warranty. So every year when you're doing your PMs, you're cleaning that blower wheel, and then you're changing out the lights as well. You're already going to have that head torn down. You're going to hit the blower wheel, clean that, replace the lamps. They're pretty easy to replace. And then it is super compact. It does have high intensity. You can use 1 or 2 lamps for the installation depending on your application and the room that you're working with there. As far as the power pack, if you have room inside the head of the unit, by all means install it in the head of the unit. You'll see in that picture on the left there that it's installed in the head of the unit. That's not going to be the case all the time. These things are getting more of a slim design all the time, so we understand that it's not always going to fit in there. And I think Ultravation is working on something to make this even a more slim line design, but for the time being, that power module is still really small. And most cases you can mount this right on top of the mini split and you're never going to see it anyway. Most of the time these things are mounted towards the ceiling, and if you just put this on top of it up against the wall, you're never going to see it anyway. This does have a green light when the lamps are efficient and red when they're no longer efficient as well. These are very cost effective too. It is a great add-on for mini splits. I think something like this, and I think something like a surge protector should go on every single mini split that is sold. And like I said, if people are doing their annual maintenance on these things, which I think people are becoming more aware as the years go on that you do have to service these things every single year. Some people honestly should be servicing these things twice a year. The buildup on these things are disgusting as far as the blower wheels go. The coils, I mean, all this stuff gets pretty nasty, especially when you're talking about places in people's homes that cook a lot, that have pets. You're talking about restaurants that cook, like the grease and everything that builds up on the inside of these things gets pretty ridiculous over time. So something like this, there's a lot of stuff that a lot of buildup that goes into these. Go back to that for a second, Scott. Will any of your technology have the ability to connect to Wi-Fi?
No.
When a bulb needs replacement? At this time, no. I wouldn't doubt in the future if something like that comes out. I do know another one of our companies that we deal with like surge protection and compressor savers. They are in the process, I believe, of developing something with Bluetooth technology when something like that goes out. But as far as these, not at this time. But it does seem that the industry in pretty much everything is moving towards some sort of Bluetooth or Wi-Fi. So who knows?
Even my water softener has it.
It's
crazy.
It's pretty crazy. Anybody have any questions on these?
Cool.
The Orion Ion Generator, this is our ionization product. It improves air filtration, enhances any air filter, binds small Airborne particulates, mounts internally or externally on the HVAC. Great for ice machines and PTAC units. Notable options: mounts internally or externally, and it has magnetic mount options. Couple things I want to say real quick is we do have products for PTACs. You can typically use an M series that we just spoke about for mini splits on PTACs. We also do have some other products for PTACs. We also do recommend that you use the Orion in conjunction with the Solaris as well as the Catalyst. So if we're in a residence and somebody wants a full, they want it all. They want Airstream disinfection, they want coil treatment, they want ionization. We recommend that you put the Orion before the air filter, so you get ionization. That's going to electrically charge the particles, and it's going to enhance your air filter because it's going to charge those particles, it's going to clump them up, it's going to make it easier for your air filter to catch them, whether you're using a 1-inch filter from Home Depot or you're using a MERV 11 or MERV 13 filter. And then we recommend that you put a Solaris or a Catalyst in the Airstream. The Solaris, as we know, does PCO ionization as well, and it does UV. And then we recommend that you put coil treatment with UVC lamps over the coils. Now, the benefit of doing an Orion with the Catalyst, we know the Catalyst does UVC lamps. We know the Catalyst does PCO, but we also know the Catalyst does not do ionization. So how do we make up for that? We add an Orion to the system. So you put the Catalyst in the Airstream, you put the UVC lamps over the coils, and then you put the Orion before the air filter. So that is your best case scenario, that you do a whole house indoor air quality system. You do ionization, you do PCO, you do coil treatment, and you do Airstream disinfection. And you can do that either with the Solaris, you can do that with the Catalyst, and you do that with coil treatment and ionization before the air filter. So something like this does mount internally or externally. It does have the magnetic mount option as well. And you can use that for PTAC units as well. So if you're in hotels, places like that, you can use them for those types of scenarios. Ice machines, we do have other UV lights for ice machines as well. Any questions on those? All right, and to complete the system, we do have Progressive Media Solutions. We do have support boxes, which are a popular seller. You guys did not bring any filter boxes in like this yet. So we do have support boxes, which does eliminate a lot of the footprint. A lot of people build their own when it comes to these. Sheet metal shops do, but ours do come insulated with the filter inside them. We can paint these to the color of your guys' equipment, and we can also silkscreen print the name of the contractor on these as well. So if a contractor has a logo they want to put on there, they send that to us and we can put that on there. They have a specific color they want their filter boxes to be painted, we can do that. Or we can just leave them galvanized, bare bones as well. We can send it to them uninsulated without a filter, whatever they prefer. We can also do straight throughs, or we can do right angles as well. We do have MERV 11 and MERV 13 filters. We do have the pressure drop stats on these too. So if you guys were interested in those, we can send you the stats on those as well.
Yeah, that's important to note since we only sell MERV 11, MERV 13, which are the top recommended IAQ. And a lot of contractors have shied away from them over the years because of their concerns for pressure drops. And our filters perform way beyond a HEPA. So without those pressure drop concerns. And one of the reasons why is that image right there, 32 feet are in there. The average pleated filter does not have that much surface area in it. So that's a design advantage that we bring forth to help us ensure that we can still get you a nice system design and beef up the IAQ without having to deal with a lot of these restrictions. So.
But I would definitely, especially the support boxes, I think if you guys showed those support boxes, you'd get a lot of interest in those. Those are a pretty neat product.
Cool.
All right.
We're gonna be hitting in some commercial, so if they're gonna lightly loop over that again, and then we can hit some any deep dive Q&A after that once we stop recording.
Yeah, I'll go over this really quickly since we don't have a ton of time left, but you guys did bring in the AS product, which is for Airstream disinfection, and I don't know if you brought in the SI or not, but anyway, a lot of these products are made to order. So basically, we send you guys a sizing guideline, which therefore you guys send to your contractors. They take to a job, they fill it out, they get all the sizing, dimensions, everything, the CFMs, all that stuff. They also figure out what they're trying to solve for. So if they're trying to solve for a specific type of bacteria, a virus, or a combination, or they're just looking for general disinfection, we can recommend a product. So a lot of these aren't a one size fits all application, especially when you're trying to solve for something in particular. So they take the measurements and then you guys send it back to us, and then we can recommend how many of these you'll need. So typically something like the SI is going to be used for coil treatment. Something like the AS is going to be used for in Airstream disinfection. Something like the upper room is going to be used for situations where you do not have ductwork running through a commercial application, or you do have ductwork and you want more IAQ technology running through that situation. And then the 4X that you see there is basically our rooftop application. So we're not going to get into each of these individually unless you guys have questions on these. I'm pretty sure you did bring in some of these, but I think you brought them in for one specific contractor for a reason, but those are available to you, and those are pretty much made to order by recommendations when people go into jobs. And the same thing, 2 points of contact, you solve for coil, you solve for Airstream, and that's related to solving for bacteria there in blue and solving for viruses there in green, and that's solved by coil and Airstream disinfection and a combination of both of those. And if you're trying to solve for the ecovirus, when you're looking at that chart all the way at the top there, if you're trying to solve for ecovirus, then that means we need to treat for coil treatment and we need to treat for Airstream disinfection to get ourselves at a 99% efficiency to treat for that. And we need to recommend a certain amount of bulbs over the coils and in the Airstream to get you at that efficiency. So we might recommend, say, 2 sets of the AS series to go into the Airstream to get you at 78% efficiency, or you can go with 4 sets that will get you at 99% efficiency. And that's up to the contractor to present to the buyer to see which one they prefer. Some people may not want to go all the way to 100. They might be okay with just treating for up to a certain percent. So, all right. Did anybody have any questions about the commercial? And we can pretty much just open it up to an open conversation at this point.
Great. Let me shut things down here and get everybody unlocked there, Ron.